My friends, it's time to be cautious and excited. Cautious and excited. Not necessarily freaked out, but excited. Excited about a lot of good things that are happening, a lot of stuff that I'm so happy about, and you should be as well. But be cautious. That's today's theme, ladies and gentlemen, of the jury. Cautious. That's what this day is. Now, sit back and get ready. Sit back and get ready. Couple of things. First of all, let me get. I always forget this because I tend to become so excited over a lot of things that I forget a lot of, as they say, business. Number one, I want to remind you to make sure you are subscribed herein to Lionel Nation. This is critical. People are unsubscribed. They're coming after us. They're coming after us. And we want to make sure that doesn't happen. So first of all, on October the 26th, the Cutting Room here in New York City, I'm taking the stage, and get ready, friends. Get ready for Freddie. Like, you cannot believe the amount of fun we are going to be having. Live entertainment and the like. Number two, I want to remind you, brave and wise and smart patriots, that right now, our brave and wise and smart sponsor at My Patriot Supplies, through our unique website called, write this down, preparewithlionel.com. I'm going to say this very quickly. They're talking about emergency food. Listen to what Bobby Kennedy and everybody, even Shanahan, was talking about what she calls communist China and everything else. I'm telling you, I am telling you, ladies and gentlemen, please, for the love of God, I ask you, do this for yourself. Go to preparewithlionel.com. Check out right now 3-month emergency supply kit. Just get $300 off. Preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com. One more. Our friend, the more they call this guy crazy, the more I love him. Mike Lindell, mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. Go there right now. We have been with them, and they have been with us. And I'm not running. I'm not running from anybody. Remember, I am as loyal as the day is long. And it takes a lot for me to say, okay, that's enough. If I give you the okay, unless you veer completely nuts, I'm with you the whole stretch. Absolutely. Okay. So that's it. Today, my friends, is the 25th day of August. The 25th day of August. And tomorrow is a big day for me. I hit the double six. And nothing would be greater for me if there is indeed any type of wish, is for there to be reality that somehow imbues the spirit of this country. Let reality reign. Let reality reign. That's the most important thing. Let reality reign. And I can't say this enough. This political season to me is very, very simple. It's very, very simple. This is not about anything other than what's best for our country. And I'm going to be talking to you a lot about it today, about why I'm very, very excited, and why you should be excited as well. Very excited, okay? Very excited. But listen to me carefully. Let's start. I've got to get my morning Joe in here. First and foremost, in no particular realm here, I want to say, as I've said from the beginning, and I'm going to say this, and we can forget this. You can hear me. Pardon me, a little flaxseed. And I'm going to say this once. Unless you were able to control and to get a grip on write-in, absentee, or mail-in voting, all of this is for naught. Let me just say this again. Remember, everything that we say, all of our excitement, all of our thoughts, all of our happiness will be destroyed if all of a sudden they say, okay, back up the truck. Here we have, out of nowhere, loads and loads and piles and pounds of endless, seemingly limitless ballots that are legal, that are on actual real stuff, real supervisor of elections and secretary of state and real absentee ballots signed by people who have not been verified, who are duplicates, or who are from fictitious places that nobody has ever gone and purged. It's the simplest thing in the world, and it's boring. You got to admit it, right? Isn't it boring? When you tell people this, they say, what are you talking about? Because people always presume. People always presume. Let me give you a side little note. I have a friend of mine who is he's such a great guy. And I have a lot of friends of mine who are, some are kind of lefties, and I really remained friends with them, and they were friends with me. And we don't really get mean, but there's one friend I always use as an example. And my friend believes this. He believes that whatever is the quote official story about, let's say, an event, the 11th day of the 9th month, 23 years ago. Got to be careful how you say that. The dispatch of JFK and RFK, of Vietnam, World War II, Watergate, whatever this official story is, he says, well, that's what happened. And I said, well, that's it. That's as far as he goes. So yesterday, I think I told you this, how we're doing these texting. We're having all this fun back and forth. And he says to me, and I said, do you? He said, well, I get, and I don't know why. He said, but I guess you think nobody perhaps perished on that fateful day, on the 11th day of the 9th month, 23 years ago. I said, well, why would it happen? And then we got into it, and I'm throwing facts at him. He has no idea what I'm talking about. I said, you have no idea what I'm talking about. And I'm asking him, I said, you don't know the facts of the case. You don't understand this. Have you heard this story about, and let me just say something. Let me just back you up on this. Before you jump on something, have you heard this story that this biopic about Hulk Hogan has now been canned because of his appearance for Trump at the whatever it is? That he might have made a joke about something. Have you heard this story? Have you heard this story? This is what they're saying. They're saying that this was slated for this, but they were going to can it. They're going to can this event. They're going to can it, or can his story. And I think other people are trying to. And they said the reason why is because all of a sudden he decided to say something bad about whatever. Okay. That's not what other people are saying. That's not the story. That's not the story necessarily why they're doing this. It might have been canned before. We don't know. But the story that's being presented to you is that, aha, look what they did. Look what they did. So do me a favor. When you ask yourself the question, what is the real story and not what people are saying to you? Do you understand? Do you understand what's happening? Here's another story. Have you heard the story about Pavel Durov, the head of Telegram? He was arrested in France. Have you heard that story? And they're making it sound like, well, this is obviously nothing but censorship. Do you know the story? Are you sure you know the story? Do you know the story? Do you hear what everybody is saying before you jump in and then say, well, it's obviously because he's free speech, whatever. Say what is going on there? What is going on? Who is saying what? I'm going to check this thing out before I jump on board. I have a very simple rule. Very simple rule. Freedom of speech is great. Anybody who is using on their platforms for child sexual abuse material should be immediately arrested and thrown under the prison. You understand that? K-Bay says, does it matter if we mail in or go live to vote? No, that mailing in is great. Going live is you either way, just go there. That's not what it is. Going live is fine. Mailing in, do whatever works for you. I don't have a problem, nor have I seen anything. I'm not talking about people mailing in your vote. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking anything wrong about the voting itself or the machines. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about, let me go back and explain this to you. What I'm talking about, make sure we're very, very clear, is that let's say, for example, we'll go to Georgia, and the Georgia Secretary of State has a list of all of the people where absentee votes are going to be mailed out. You see what I'm saying? And for example, one vote may be, and I'm telling you, 123 Main Street in Alpharetta, Georgia, 123 Main Street. And the name Lorenzo Cook. Lori says, yes, them bastards are trying to cause us to snap. I like that. So let's say I sent this to Lorenzo Cuck, a.k.a. Lori and Lorenzo. And do we know if there's a Lorenzo Cuck at 123 Main Street? But that's going to go to that house may get, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 different ballots. We don't know. I don't know. Is it a house? Is it how many people live there? Is it how is it set up via the voter rolls and the tax rolls? Is it a single dwelling? It's like, how does 100 people live in a house with one bedroom? Does anybody check? They're not interested. And I picked Georgia out of the blue. But is anybody checking? We don't know. Has Lara Trump ever gone there and said, let's look at this? What if somebody said, we did an analysis of this and found out that there are at least 10, 15, 20,000, 10,000, 1,500, whatever the number is, of people who have names who are not on any voter roll at all. None. The names of the absentee vote. Number two, there might have been somebody who has moved, who doesn't live here anymore. There's a person named Demetrius Splitkin who used to live here when he went to college, but he doesn't live here anymore. But he keeps getting this mail. He keeps going to this dorm or this apartment or whatever it is. He doesn't live here anymore. He's not even, he hasn't voted. That there is no, or 400 people go to this address, or the address is a Best Buy or a parking lot. Do you see what I'm saying? So let's assume this. Let's say I write a story. This is my movie. I'm not saying this is happening, but here's the plot of my movie. You ready for this? Okay. It works like this. I have a guy who works at a Maine post office. And in my story, I'm just purely hypothetical. And in my story, he decides that since the postal carriers and others are behind Kamala 100%, there's a dude there who somehow figures out I've got either all of the write-in ballots, or I pick them up, or maybe they come from the Secretary of State's office and they're going to send them to the post office. And somebody can say, if you let those ballots go from the post office to the addresses, some may not come back. Some might be some Trump voters. Why don't we do this? Let's take all of them. This is a movie now. I'm just being crazy. All right. I'm just being crazy. Let's take all of these and let's make sure they all say Kamala Harris. And we mail them back. How do you do this? I got a truck. I got them all back there. Nobody knows the difference. Then we go to this precinct. And then you get Charlie Kirk or one of these other people standing around. And they say, what do we got? Okay, Charlie, keep an eye on it. Well, here's one here. What's your name? Lorenzo Adamire. Lorenzo, what are you doing? Well, here's the first one. Let me open this up, and it's legit, and it's for Kamala Harris. Okay, there you go. Here's another one. Kamala Harris. Okay, what about this? Kamala Harris. Now, what if I told you? Do you know how many people have actually read? Do you understand how many people actually are from this address? No. You see what I'm saying? They just assume, like my friend does. He just presumes everything's okay. He just presumes. So let me just tell you something. We can talk about this all you want. You can talk about Bobby Kennedy. You can talk about Elon Musk. You can talk about seed oils and plastics and baby formulas, and you can talk about anything you want. But if nobody, I repeat, if nobody is working on maintaining the integrity of the vote itself, you and we and everybody are wasting our time. Just remember this. This is all for naught, and that blithering idiot will be president. So let me just put that into perspective, okay? You're an adult. This is the way it works. That simple, okay? Okay. Simple. And nobody goes. And remember, when you go to a supervisor's office or you go someplace and you ask them, hey, listen, have you got this taken care of? Of course I've got this taken care of. Why? Because I'm not going to tell you I've done something that shows I'm illiterate at what I'm doing. I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to do anything to turn over and say, you know what? My office has been incompetent. We haven't done this. We haven't listened to anybody. You do know this, right? This is why you don't let people, the chicken, guard the hen house. I mean, or the it makes no sense. The wolf or the weasel or whatever the hell it is, or you could let the chicken or them, but it's just fine. In any event, that makes no sense. I just pulled a Curtis Lee. I have no idea. Okay. Now let's move on. Let's move a little bit. Whose birthday is it? Dennis? He's a fellow virgin. Now, there is a fellow I like quite a bit. There's some great stuff that is available. And first of all, Dom Luker, our brother Dom Luker, breaker of narratives, is absolutely fantastic. Okay? By the way, a little bit back, Hulk Hogan's biopic that has been in development since 2019 and was set to star Marvel Thor actor Chris Hemsworth has been canceled due to his appearance on the RNC 2024 in Milwaukee. Joker director Todd Phillips says this is due to Hogan mocking Harris, his Indian heritage, and saying he would body slam her if given the opportunity, along with other controversial statements. That remains to be seen. Let's see. Could be. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Don't jump at something. That could be. Here's one for you. I will never understand this, and maybe you folks can. I do not understand why. Let me tell you something. Tucker, remember I'm telling you this. Tucker is going to get burned. Tucker and Candace Owens are going to get burned. They are so reckless. They think they can do whatever they want. They're going to fall into the Alex Jones thing. Alex Jones thought for the longest time, I'm bigger than all of you people. I'm bigger than all of you people. And just so that you know, I've always said that when history is written, Alex Jones will be one of the people who has been so instrumental in creating the particular world of informational platforms that we enjoy today. But understand something. There are things you can go out there and do. There are people who you should see the list of people who have gone on and sabotaged their careers. People who did things on the Johnny Carson show, or that ticket to stardom who blew that or said something about somebody or thought that they were at the position where they can do whatever they want because they're so terrific. Candace Owens is absolutely reckless. She's going to destroy everything because she's taking on people and she's trying to invoke the notion of religion and homosexuality and all that stuff. And you can laugh at it and you can say, well, that makes sense to me. So what? So what? Okay. Like a good friend of ours who says, Alex thought he was free. Alex thought, I'm invincible. That's right. To a good friend, Vincent, who writes a very good thing. Vincent, I think Don McLean said it best. Vincent Sammartino, who might be the illegitimate son of Bruno Sammartino. I don't know. I do not know. Or Arnold Skolin, one of the two. I'm not really sure what it is. But he says this. You see, you got to understand how things work. See, that's the secret to Hannity. Hannity's never said anything at all controversial. No hits, no runs, no errors. Nothing. Anodyne. You know what anodyne is? It's saccharine. It's harmless. Nothing. Just and following Rush Limbaugh and following Bill O'Reilly. You could put the Missouri dial tone on. I'm not saying the man's without talent, but he says absolutely nothing. Nothing. Nothing makes you say, oh my God. Alex Jones was fat. They just waited for him and waited for him and waited for him. And then finally they got something. See, that's the thing. They will get you on something, just like with Trump with this J6 thing. And and I told you last night, whoever is a genius who wanted to put this J6, January 6th fundraiser at Bedford, get rid of that. You don't understand. You don't understand. Yeah, but those, I know the January 6th. I understand it. It's preposterous to think those people, some guy with a beer belly and an eye patch is going to overtake the 82nd Airborne. I don't believe so. But it doesn't matter. Get them out of the way. I want to win this thing. After he wins, listen, he's termed out. Then let Trump say whatever he wants. He can pardon them. I don't give a damn. But wait until after the election. Let me give another one too while we're at it, just for the hell of it. Tucker Carlson is out of his mind. This love affair they have with the Tate brothers. Why? Oh, because they're men and they are advocating this notion of look at this, the men, look at the men, testosterone in the men. Okay, fine. If you don't understand the truth behind the Tate brothers, there's no hope for you. You're not on my team. You're out. I'll show you the door. If you would ever subject me to that kind of exposure, if you don't know how to read what's going on there, I can't help you. I can't help you. I can't help you. Another thing too is, let me tell you something right now. Be very careful. And I'm going to say something right now, and I just want you to understand something. And I just want you to listen to me very, very carefully. Okay. Be very, 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 very carefully. All right. Careful. All right. Let's just listen to me and just listen. Now, everybody loves to do this health thing, but be careful if you're 70 years old and you're walking around and you're putting on muscle mass at 70. It doesn't work like that. It does. And it's not because testosterone is lower. That's nonsense. We have this idea. We have these things. It's so interesting. People say they have no testosterone. There's no testosterone. I remember one time there was a fellow. I said, "Well, how do you know?" My friend goes to the doctor and says, "Can I test my testosterone?" Yeah, he says, "Let me ask you something." He said, "Are you shaving?" He said, "Yeah." He goes, "Your testosterone's fine." All right, next. We have this idea that somehow men they have depleted testosterone. They're walking around like a bunch of geldings, or that they're not producing anything. Hey, listen, it might lower the rate of prostate cancer. There are some kind of natural balances. So anyway, here comes Bobby Kennedy. Bless his heart. 7 years old, and he's packing on muscle and doing. Bobby, excuse me, can I talk to you? Yeah, come here. You're talking about seed oils, and somebody's going to say, "Why are you taking PEDs? Are you taking steroids? Are you taking any human growth hormone or anything? Are you doing that? Are you doing that?" And a lot of people say, "You don't understand. I feel fantastic." Oh, of course you do. Absolutely, you might feel fantastic. Sure you do. Does anybody understand what's going on? Seriously. What's going on here? You're talking about seed oil, and you're supposed to be our guide to health, and you're walking around here and you're looking like, oh, come on. Have you seen any bodybuilder who decides, look at who is it? Adrian, not Dorian Gray, Dorian Yates. Look at Dorian Yates after he stopped cycling. You don't even recognize him anymore. You don't even recognize him. And by the way, men, let me tell you something too. You want to talk serious? Okay, let's talk. Prostate cancer is still a bitch out there. And for the most part, it can be, in some cases, rather dormant. It can be slow. But let's assume you're out there and you're just like, here I am. I'm kind of not a benign, but I'm a rather unaffected cancer, prostate cancer, neoplasm about to form. And I'm just floating around. And I'm never going to see the light of day. And I want to be a prostate cancer. But because the testosterone levels, because maybe nature's kind of saying, oh, yeah, let's lower the, okay, fine. But all of a sudden, hey, what's this? This guy's loading up with, what is this? Testosterone and human growth. Oh, this is fantastic. Thank you. And all of a sudden, these seemingly benign, seemingly dormant cancer cells and neoplasm and all kind of whatever iterations of this, now all of a sudden they're invigorated because you blasted yourself with testosterone. Yes, because you want to feel like a man. You want to bench press for it. Good for you. And now your prostate, everything was fine until it says, thank you now. Now, this benign prostate cancer, which was kind of dormant, now it's in full bloom. Thank you. I don't understand this. We are absolutely children. We are children. We are children. And there are these, and I'm serious, and I love these folks, and I love these guys. And I'm telling you right now, it is the most incredible thing how people, you know who's my favorite is? Theo Vaughn and these guys who are talking about, well, I'm off cocaine. They talk about drugs and weed and everything constantly. I don't listen enough to him, but he was joking about doing stems of psilocybin or something. May I just stop for a second? I'm not trying to be a prude or anything. I'm just lay off this dope stuff. Lay off this weed. I'm not saying it's going to kill you, but that's not the only reason you should not do something, because it's not going to kill you. Why are we doing this? Why? We have this thing about, oh, he's a soy boy. Well, the soy boys. They have a picture of Bobby Kennedy standing around shirtless with Rachel, whatever the I'm talking about. Biden's the woman, man in the Navy gear, Rachel, whatever her name. The poor thing. She's not crying. Okay. And that's the big thing. Democrats who are, overtly gay, transitioning, and then there's this one. Okay, fine. And I know these are very, very simple mimetic dualities. Democrats, weak, effete, fey, impuissant, atesticular, geldings, homosexual, gays. Okay, fine. Right-wing, Republican, man's man, men, bulging muscles, women and men, how to be men, how to go out there and eat raw meat. And that's where they fall into this notion about the Tate brothers. You are schmucks if you fall for that. That's all I'm going to tell you. So Tucker, you pay attention. And I know Tucker wants so much to be a man. And God damn it, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fly fish, and we're going to rip the hearts, and we're going to eat the livers of bear that we've killed. And yes, because I'm a man. Okay, look, you're really kind of pushing this thing a little too much. Are you okay there? Yes, I'm going to prove to you once and for all, God, I'm a man. Okay. Look, if that makes you happy, God bless you. Same thing with, Ted Nugent. I'm out here and I'm going to kill the bear. I'm going to shoot that bear and I'm going to get him on the bow and arrow and then I'm going to kill my meat and I'm going to kill. All right. Listen, that's terrific. But you're kind of pushing a little bit too much. It's like, why do you want to keep reminding me that how masculine you are? Because I have to. Anything else you want to tell me? Well, just want to remind I'm trying to convince myself. Okay. That's all. Just remember who we're talking about. Just do yourself a favor. Get involved in this political thing, but please don't lose your sense of reality. Know who's who, okay? Know who's who. Know when people are going through the strains of mental illness. Understand the psychology of Bobby Kennedy. Abandoned by everyone. Let me just say one more thing about Bobby Kennedy before we get into this. Bobby Kennedy is going to waste his time talking to you about seed oils. America doesn't care about seed oils. Doesn't. And when I say that, yeah, there are some of you who do. Yeah, but that's not it. What you have to do, Bobby, is you have to say, in China, they don't allow this, but they do here because the seed oil folks are subsidized in order to kill you. Now it makes sense. In the United States, we have GMOs. Okay. Putin outlawed it. Putin won't let him in his country. How come we have it here? Wait a minute. Hold it. What? See what I did? That's how you phrase it. Don't get up there on Fox and Friends and explain seed oils. It doesn't matter to people. No. That's not the message. It doesn't matter. Let me also stop and say, and if we don't get the mail-in ballots, I'm wasting my time. Let me tell you something. If I found out right now, if somebody could prove to me, guess what? Nothing has been changed regarding mail-ins. It's what we've always had. I'm saying, that's it. Let's change channels. Let's go to a gamer channel because this is over. We're just wasting our time. Okay. Our friend Dom Luker, who is excellent, love this feller, put up something about a comedian by the name of Eddie Griffin. You know who Eddie Griffin is? Eddie Griffin is, where is he? Okay. Legendary comedian Eddie Griffin. I love this guy. You want to talk about power in a particular style, who can throw more MFs, and I think you know what I'm talking about, in a sentence than anybody. Eddie Griffin says the Democrats don't have his vote because they haven't said what they're going to do for Black people and Black Americans. And this is as he watched, and this, I believe, has been edited for family viewing, but if a few things get through, this is Mr. Griffin's particular patois, his particular style of speaking. So let me get this for you. Where we go? Okay, here we go. This is Mr. Griffin. Listen to this. It's very good.
Heavyweights came out. Michelle, Barack.
Let me try this.
The DNC threw a jammy last night. They had the heavyweights came out. Michelle, Barack, Bernie. They brought all the guns to the party. Let's check it out.
We know what comes next. We know folks are going to do everything they can to distort her truth. My husband and I sadly know a little something about this. For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people who happen to be Black. I want to know, who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those Black jobs?
Damn, she went there. I'm waiting on Don's retort. Black job, White House. Black job, White House. We ain't talking about the cook either. Black job. White House. You know, Barack, he had to follow Michelle, you know. This motherfucker still smoother than X-Lax, though.
There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
Hear that? Man, there goes that crazy conspiracy there. I mean, he don't know what he even talking about the new. And he saying he don't know what he mean don't talk about the right. I say no, but that motherfucker ain't know about the right. Come on.
Oh, damn. Oh!
This weird obsession with crowd sizes.
Oh, damn. Oh, somebody keep Don away from the knives. He might be suicidal right now. Yeah, like I said, you know, Barack's still smooth in the motherfucker, but yeah, I still don't trust nothing to motherfucker. They still ain't said what the they gonna do for us. All they tell about is how great America is. How the is it great? Everybody broke, homeless and motherfucker, losing their houses, can't even afford houses no more. You gotta rent because the motherfucking BlackRock done bought up all the houses. But these black motherfuckers, they done brought in, got everybody all hyped. Ooh-wee, they brought out the big guns. Yes, they did. They brought them motherfuckers out. But they still ain't copping my vote. I ain't no sucker. What the are y'all gonna do for Y'all ain't said that part. Now, Donald, to his credit, that motherfucker said what he gonna do for and he said that built this country. A white man said that. All the y'all rolled out ain't said shit. So, you know, yeah, I'm waiting.
Now, I sorry, when you expurgate, but this is it. And listen to what I'm telling you. The word is, again, absent any lack of concern over the fact of, you know, voting and everything. But a lot of people are saying something very, very simple. They're saying that the DNC is most concerned with what's going on. Ryan, by the way, says RFK is probably taking testosterone replacement therapy at the very least. But I say, why not? If I'm on the leeward side of life, why not? You have nothing to lose at that age. Did you hear what I just said about cancers? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Evan Webb says, I don't think most of us know what the Tate brothers were doing a while back. That's right. And you know what? They're not going to be, because they are being portrayed, Evan, as the what am I trying to say? They're not, how do I say this? Their whole thing is that they're into masculine. They're masculine. Okay, why? Great. That's terrific. Remember AJ's Alex Jones, Bill Clinton's is a boy. I tell you what, Lori's got the splitting up of the things. Yes. Remember Juanita Broderick? We know all about that. Now, here's what I'm saying. And Ryan, let me tell you what you just said. And I love you, but you brought up something which is very, very good. Ryan, I'm not asking for you to clarify this. I'm asking for you to ask, how is this going to be interpreted? For example, it is stupid for President Trump to allow Bedford or his golf course to be associated with anything involving January 6th. Now, here's what you would say, not Ryan, but you would say, well, they didn't do anything wrong. You're missing the point. I'm not asking you to clarify it. I'm not asking you what you think. I'm not asking you what the truth is. I'm asking, what are these idiots going to interpret this as? Why are you even bringing up something which we've forgotten? Let it go. Bobby Kennedy is not going to be talking about Israel. Nothing. You've said enough. Let it go. Nobody's talking about Israel. Nobody. Nobody. Now, this is the one. This is the thing. I understand America. I understand the voter. I have been saying to you, one of the most important and critical issues that the world is noticing is what is happening to the Gazans. If this isn't a genocide, it's a massacre. It's a war crime. It's whatever you want to call it. Under the statutory rules, it is indeed pursuant to this indictment by the criminal court and the ICJ and ICC, based upon statutory language, this is genocide. To kill a group of people and hold them apart with the intent? My God, what intent do you need? Okay, what I just said, most Americans are saying, I don't know what you're talking about. So I've got friends of mine, European friends, goes, but don't you understand? It's genocide. And I say, don't you understand? This is America. And if America is not bringing something up or doesn't care about something, don't bring it up. Don't talk about JFK's assassination. Nobody is talking about that. And the ones who were the most despicable people of them all, there's some, you know what? All of us have to eat a little bit in our life. You know what I mean? You got a job. You can't say this. You got to kiss somebody's arse a little bit. Okay, a bit sycophantic. I get it. I dig. But Carrie Kennedy, and who was it? Rory, the documentarian. How about who killed your father? And by the way, the same thing goes for Bobby Kennedy. If this were my father, every single day, on every platform, I would say, I demand an open investigation into who did what. My God, everybody knows. Remember this fellow? Remember Thane Eugene Caesar? Remember this? I don't want to go through this. Bobby Kennedy mentioned it a couple of times. I'm telling you, he's mentioned it, but these imprisoned, spineless Kennedy and my family get together, and we wrote this piece against our cousin. Carrie Kennedy, shut the up. Go away. The Kennedys are over. Camelot's dead. We don't care anymore. John Stewart went away for a little bit and is now having to reclaim his position. And they're saying, isn't he a genius? His writers are a genius. He's a great reader. He's a fantastic, unlike Bill Maher, who can't even read his stuff. Bill Maher, I don't think has read half of his stuff for the first time. He laughs as though he's heard it for the first time. And that's why Jim, that's really good. It's your line. Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry about that. So why do I bring up John Stewart? Because John Stewart doesn't understand. Nobody remembers you. You're a schmuck. You went away. You went away to some petting zoo with your wife and you became vegan. That's great. So you're petting zoo to save animals from slaughterhouses. Okay. You walked away from it. You walked away at the height, not height, but the height of your ascendancy. When your channel, your network, what am I saying? Your show was at the height. You defined it and you walked away right before Trump came in. Trump. And you gave it to Trevor, whatever his name is. No, and it's horrible people. And they're going to remember Samantha Bee? John Oliver, I guess he's doing his thing. We're just kind of getting tired of that. Why? Because it's all here. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is FM to AM. This is radio to newspapers. This is whatever it is. And John Stewart is still thinking, why don't people because kids don't know who you are. You have to reintroduce yourself. That's why Taylor Swift, to her benefit, has said, I'm not going to stop touring. I'm going to keep touring until I'm no more. Because she realized that you take 1 week off with this world that has the attention span of a gnat. So these miserable Kennedys out there are writing this stuff. It's like, you don't even care who killed. You're the most compliant because somebody says, hey, can we have a family meeting? Yeah, listen, we're the Kennedys and we live on a trust fund and we don't do anything. And this comes tumbling down. If the Democrats do turn their back on us and we're not, the dutiful family who sit up and show up with these, by the way, can you imagine if you bred the Kennedy teeth with the Osmonds and Heidi Fleiss and you mixed them together, you would have some like mastodon, some saber tooth. These Rory Kennedy, if Rory Kennedy gave you a hickey, she'd kill you. You would die immediately. Right there in the neck, it would be carotid, you'd be dead. It'd be murder one. Her teeth are a deadly weapon. She'll kill you. And I'm going to leave it at that because I could think of a terrible joke, which I'm not going to do because it's a family show. So Bobby Kennedy, I was like, okay, here's Bobby Kennedy. I'd be on the show every day talking about my father. They count the number of shots that day. This is the easiest one of them all. This is there. And by the way, don't be surprised. Wait till Cheryl Hines, his wife, says, I'm out of here. I am out of here. What the hell was this? I'm at the end of my, Curb Your Enthusiasm. They won't touch me. I'm married to this guy, and not only has he pissed everybody off with this whole vaccine and autism thing, and now he's going to be teaming up with Trump. Oh, I'm done. I am so out of here. It's not even funny. Watch what happens. Lori Cook says, I think RFK Jr. was cool to testify for Sirhan. Well, yeah. Well, I don't know if he testified or if I forget. He did something where his families were. Lori, if I know we like to say MK Ultra and everything, but there's two cases where I would not be surprised if they were MK Ultra. Absolutely. One is Mark David Chapman with Lenin, and the second was Sirhan. Sirhan's first thing was, I don't remember what? Yeah, you killed JFK or RFK. Why? Because of George. What? Because of his Palestinian. What? Not exactly good. Evan Webb says national security and financial issues are the important topics, but some keep us sidelined with more emotional social topics. Evan, what is it going to matter to the undecided independent voter? Tell me, dear friend, tell me what will matter to them. I ask you again, dear sir. Not what matters to you, not what matters to us. Let me show you the biggest flop anybody has ever seen since New Coke. Check this dude out.
We need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Yes, there is, schmuck. Yes, there is. Absolutely. Whose misinformation? Your misinformation? My hate speech? This is the most deadly. Listen to what I'm saying. The Republicans are saying, she sucks. He's terrible. This is awful. How did we do this? Are you sure we got the mail-in votes? That's the only thing. This is the worst. And you know who's really pissed off? As you say in West Tampa, empingado. You know who's really is Gavin Newsom. Gavin said, well, I guess that's what I'm supposed to say. He's so pissed off. Because remember, he's with the Pelosi, Brown, and Getty. And they own him. Don't be surprised if all of a sudden somebody says out there, hey, guess what we've got? All kinds of weird, creepy photos. I mean, I'm just saying, but let's assume, hey, you and Kimberly. Yeah, Kimberly Guilfoyle, remember that one? Yeah, they were married. This is the woman who said, and he's not gay. I know you think he's gay. And they were incandescent. They were just, you said what? She's an idiot. She said, and he's got a big, and I was like, okay, great. I mean, do Do you know what films they must have? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Who owns that? Well, there's a name of a prominent Getty out there who owns Gavin Newsom. Laurie says, testify for him to get out with the guy from America's Untold. Yeah. He and others have, yes. He's very, very good. And, but very frankly, Laurie, he's really not pushing this. He's not pushing it. You think, with all due respect, was that it? Is that it? If Bobby Kennedy right now said, before I begin, let me tell you, Sirhan did not kill my father. Now you're looking at me. It's this guy. Listen to me carefully. It's Thane Eugene Caesar, or it's, my God. These are this is your excitement. This is your excitement. This is a guy who is, by the way, has longest time. This Thane Eugene, the second gun, and by the way, he died on September the 11th, 2019, in the Philippines. Remember Lucien Sarti? Remember Badge Man? Remember supposedly Badge Man? Remember that dude? Remember that fellow who they believe might have been the other shot with the frangible bullet at JFK? Remember that on the grassy knoll area? Badge Man, the guy behind, he loved uniforms, frangible bullets. Boom! Remember that one? He died in Mexico City in 1972, right around the time. I mean, so there's so much there. And you could, but it doesn't matter, because America, we don't even care what happened on the 11th day in the 9th month, 3 years ago. Nobody cares about that either. So whatever it is. Okay. Now this is a feller I think is great.
Speech is the bedrock of democracy. And if the people, in order for X to be the public square of the world, it's really got to be a free speech platform. Now that doesn't mean people can say illegal things. It's free speech.
Well, what's illegal?
Law, but not going further than the law for a particular.
Which law? Whose law?
I think it's imperative that the people have a right to speak.
Anything?
But by the same token, advertisers have a right to appear next to content that they feel is compatible with their brand.
Yes. This is a no-brainer. But let me tell you something. There has been nobody who has been as important. And right now, the big troika, Trump, Kennedy, and Musk. Now, is this good for the independent voter? Some, maybe. But the thing is, he makes it look kind of cool. And no matter what you think, Elon Musk is cool. He's the richest man in the world, or whatever he is. He's up there. He's cool. And he's smart. And Bobby Kennedy Jr., whatever you want to say, is this kind of a rogue. That's the way I would do it. And you would say, folks, listen to me. Trump is the perfect triangulation. Trump is this meeting, this incredible, this collective coalescence of people who, for the most part, do not understand. For the betterment of this country, look at the disparate, yet the singular and unified focus that they have on making this place great. I don't want to say again, but making it great. Thank you. Cheated no more. Excellent. Now, how about this beautiful moment? Dare I say, listen to this one and tell me this isn't important.
Don't you want healthy children? And don't you want the chemicals out of our food? And don't you want the regulatory agencies to be free from corporate corruption? And that's what President Trump told me that he wanted.
Now, remember what I'm saying. Add one phrase to it. They don't allow this in China. Do you know in China, TikTok is only available for like a couple of hours a day or something ridiculous like that. That's what gets their people's attention. Don't just stop with that. Because I'm sorry, the reason why I'm saying this is that people have been hearing for the longest time, the kids are saying, oh no, the junk food, and oh yeah, okay. That's what they're hearing. Lori Cuck says, how long ago do you think they chose her? Oh, Lori, Kamala, I think they don't really have her per se, but there is this wonderful, how do I say this? There's this wonderful, they have a list, a bench, so to speak. Newsom's here. Remember, Newsom is the Pelosi, Brown, Getty wing of the California mafia. Kamala is a different story. Now, everybody has got to be either compromised. Nobody can be truly independent. They've got more dirt on Gavin Newsom than you will ever imagine. And it's going to be also, don't think for a moment when it comes to that they're not going to be debriefing Kimberly. That's going to be really interesting. Really interesting. Really interesting. How come they haven't gotten married yet? Why is this the world's long? I'm just saying, why is this the world's longest engagement? Maybe somebody is saying she could be a problem later on. A real problem. It's one thing to say you're the think every possible situation and exhaust it until it doesn't make any sense anymore. Raul says, can Musk lure the young vote to Trump? Sure. Not all Trump young, but yes, absolutely. Here late, Rasmussen compares X and YouTube non-citizen voting 2016 and 20 and now increasing. Happy birthday, Mrs. L. Well, thank you, but it's Mr. L, but thank you very much. And hers is in January, but thank you. Let's kind of see what happens. I'm going to say this again, my friend. I'm going to say this again. Listen to what I'm saying. These are the factors to throw into the hat. First and foremost, I say this, and I want you to understand this. We have 72 days until the election. 72 days. 72 days until the election. See how important that is? 72 days until the election. That's nothing. Where is Kamala? Don't know. Now Trump is turning up the heat. Elon, social media. Elon, Bobby Kennedy. There's also this movement. Well, let's see what happened. Okay, Trump's kind of cool. Once somebody says, do you remember the Stanley water bottle craze? Do you remember this? The Stanley water bottle craze. Do you remember this? Anybody? Lori Lewis, by the way, says, can we get some folks to research voter rolls? Yeah, well, that's what I've been saying. And there have been groups of people who are online and Substack and whatever, who are trying desperately or are theoretically meeting. The answer is yes. And by the way, the technology is available. Do you remember going back to the Stanley water thing? Remember that one? This was the Stanley Cup craze. That was the whole bit. Now, where did it come from? The Stanley tumbler thing. Remember that one? Where did it come from? You understand this? Do you remember this? Where does that come from? Where does it come from? A trend comes from a place that all of a sudden, there it is. Oh, here we go. So let me go one still. Pavel Durov. I mentioned this before. Kara Kulak. I mentioned this before at the beginning. Do you know why he was arrested in France? We talked about this at the top of the hour. Were you around there? Do you remember that? But let me go back to one thing, because somebody asked a very good question. a trend comes like that. All of a sudden it comes up a boom. And if all of a sudden it's cool to vote for Donald Trump, that's it. It's all it takes. What it takes is a different story. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Let's talk about Durov, okay? You got that one? Everybody? Why is he arrested? And is he your hero? Yes or no? Let me ask the question. Is he your hero? Is he a good guy? Is he doing everything great? Is he a terrific guy? Somebody brought him up, and we did this. We did this during the first part of the show. Yes. Do you understand this? Anybody? Anybody think it's important? Anybody curious about that? Anybody hanging on? Pavel Durov. You think he's a hero? Why is he a hero? What is he? What are the accusations behind it? Nobody knows. It's probably most of the time you can almost presume that when somebody's been arrested who owns a platform like that, you think, wait a minute, hold it, what's going on here? Do you know anything about it? Really? Do you? Not sure. What about the poor people up in the space station until 2025 because of Boeing? Anybody? Now, everything that we're saying is not important for the vote. Anybody, it's not important for the vote. Nobody knows what you're talking about. Anybody, believe me. Doesn't matter. Let me explain something. Do you think Pavel Durov is going to get anybody's attention? Julian Assange? Nothing? Anybody talk about Julian Assange anymore? Nope. Like it never happened. You think Pavel Durov is going to be there? This is going to what? Freeze? This is so out there. It doesn't matter. It's interesting for Tucker. It's interesting for Elon Musk. We'll talk about Elon Musk, of course, has to think about it because he's, if they arrest him, they'll arrest him. Okay, what's going on here? But do you think that this is going to be, what do you think is going to be, if I said to you right now, right off, let me ask you a question. If I ask you, what is the story, the issue that Americans are going to be so attuned to that will pull people in who are independent and undecided voters? Because all I want is Trump to win. What would it be? Anybody? Anybody? What would it be? What would it be? What would it be? And by the way, when all of a sudden, I love you, when somebody writes, yes, I don't know what that means. Yes, what? Yes to what you said. What? Okay. Now, listen to this. Listen to this carefully. How about that Pavel Durov? Oh, that's going to get their attention, isn't it? I'm not saying it's not important, but it's boring. People don't know what you're talking about. If you can't put this on a bumper sticker, Julian Assange, they didn't care about. Nothing. Nothing. You understand this? There's Gwig, God bless you. Now listen to this one. Adam Carolla is pretty interesting. I like him. I like his stuff. I like most importantly, the way he pronounces things and his mouth structure. Very interesting. And he's talking to Shanahan. Listen to this one. Here we go.
Is Kamala Harris sort of dangerous to you?
Dangerous.
I think Kamala Harris is dangerous to me because she is the ultimate puppet for an organization that has, I believe, since President Obama, not actually run real people. Mm-hmm. They have selected amongst a very small group of individuals that they can control and dictate policy over.
Yes.
I don't think Kamala Harris is somebody who will sit here and tell you how she feels. I think that human capacity of hers has long gone.
Yes.
I think that what she now represents is corporatism. Mm-hmm. She represents a huge amount of cronyism, and I do believe that she is using messaging, and this is the part that worries me the most, is that she uses messaging in a way to get populations of young, unknowing, innocent people to join her on these false virtue signal ambitions and actually take on policies that will eventually really hurt them in the future. My mother is from communist China. I grew up hearing
the vocal fry. If you can get past it, communist China, crackly, the vocal fry. If you can get past that, you're a better person than I am.
About what the famine was like in communist China.
Right. Well, she's going to do price controls at supermarkets, so we don't have to worry about that.
But that is exactly how you get to a famine. I mean, this is...
I know.
This famine. Now, let me explain something to you. I know people, sure, her mother's from China, and that's why when I push into Prepare with Lion, I'll talk about food. We're kind of sort of on the same page, so to speak, but lose the word communism.
Basics. This is communism 101.
Well, I know what I can't.
Again, it's not communism 101. Again, communism is an economic. Again, I'm not. Look, if it works for you, just make sure you call it the right thing.
Can't figure out is why don't they know what's going to happen? Like, so when Gavin Newsom goes, every fast food worker is going to get $20 an hour in California so we can give these people a living wage.
Yeah.
And it's like, check back in 6 months. Burger King's let go 3,000 employees, and Domino's or Pizza Hut's fired all their delivery drivers, and then most franchisees are moving out. They've cut back the hours and they've automated. So, like, why don't you know what's going to happen when you implement your utopian ideas?
Adam, they also want to cut 40% of water to Californian farmers and have that land go fallow. This is not good policy.
Do you remember yesterday? I believe yesterday. Oh, cheated no more. She stands for the infiltration of our country. Who? Shanahan or Kamala? Or, by the way, you remind me of. I have a friend who will say, for example, it'll be. He'll say, for example, Joe, Eddie, Mary, and Patricia went into a store, and he turned to her, and he said, and you know what she said too? I said, wait, who's he? You got 4 people there. Who's he? You can't list 4 people and then say he and she. 2 people maybe. Okay, man and woman, gotcha. But so we don't know who he is and that sort of thing. Look, this is great. And if it works, this is wasted collectivism. Please don't. This is wasted rhetoric. Americans are too stupid at this. They don't understand this. You want to talk about communism? Go to Vietnam. Tourists, look at people. People I know who want to move there. They're doing great. What do we have so far? Truly communist China, Cuba, Laos, Vietnam, DPRK, North Korea. That's it. Those are the only existing communists. These often do not claim to have achieved socialism or communism in their countries, but to be building and working toward the establishment of it. I'm going to explain something to you, which is a very, very interesting thing. And if you're ever talking to somebody who is a socialist or a Marxist or wants to be a communist, think of the word communist as utopia. It is the thing that you will never achieve. It is your goal. It's this ideal. I know it sounds crazy. That's when they know you don't know what you're talking about. That's when they know you don't know what you're talking about. If you're ever talking to a real Marxist or Marxian or somebody who is a socialist and somebody involved in actual politics, if you go to different countries, if you talk to Zizek, what's his? I can never get his name right. The philosopher talks like this. He talks like this. And he says the public, and he's covered in spit. I don't know what he does. Anyway, he's a communist. Christopher Hitchens was a socialist and communist, and, part of the party, and they will all tell you that the very first thing you know when you're speaking with somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about is they refer to communist when it's not. That is an ideal. It's this utopian thing you're trying to achieve. Do me a favor. If ever you're speaking to undecided, independents, people, don't say communist. Don't say it. Don't. It's like Ruski, pinko. It's something you use as a pejorative. It is an economic theory that does not necessarily include within the manifestations of Marxists and his class struggles, totalitarian regime, massive killings, or the stricture on free speech and expression. It's not there. If you want to say, let's go to some places that are horrible, Guatemala, let's go to Dominican Republic in the old days, Haiti. These are capitalist. This isn't communist. This is horrible. This is poverty like you wouldn't believe. Totalitarian regimes during the Duvalier. Oh my God. In fact, what we used to do is we would go in and we get somebody like a Pinochet when we helped overthrow Allende. We would put our puppet in there, and they'd be capitalists theoretically, or they wouldn't be communists, and it was the most draconian thing anybody's ever seen. When I hear Americans try to weigh into this discussion about communism, I realize we need civics again. They don't know what they're talking about. They're talking about, in essence, communists. How do I say this? They're talking about maybe shorthand versions of something. I don't know what it is. Don't use that term when you're trying to lure somebody over. Lori Cook says, so the aim is communism like we aim for freedom? Well, just do me a favor. Leave it out of your vocabulary. Trump must expose Kamala's vacuousness in the debate. I love the Troika. Oh, me too. During the debate, I'm going to say this again. And it's very simple what the debate's going to be. Very, very simple. The goal of the debate has to be Trump saying to this, or the goal to be everybody the next night saying, the next day saying, did you see that? You hear what I'm saying? Did you see that? Did you see that bloodbath? That is what we're saying. Did you see when Trump did that? Did you see what we saw? Did you see that? That's what I want. Nothing more, nothing less. I want everybody freaking out. I want them to say that was the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. Did you see that? My God, it was the most incredible. Did you see her just fall apart? Did you see her collapse? Did you see? That's what I want. So how does he do this? One thing he does, which is critical, one thing is he comes out, and I'm going to say it again. First, he's not going to go by the script. He's not going to go by the script. Right off the bat, he's set to just blow this up. He's going to ask two questions. The first question he's going to say is something to the effect of, let me ask you a question, Ms. Harris. Do you believe that Israel is committing genocide? Yes or no? And then Stephan Abelopoulos is going to go, well, you can't answer that. Let her answer the question. Turn him on. You be quiet. Answer the question. Because this is the only time I'm going to have to talk to you, because you've been ducking me and you're ducking the press and you're ducking everything. Well, you're not going to duck this one. What's your answer? Yes or no? Either way, she's doomed. Trump has made it very clear what he believes in. Fine. Ask her. What are you going to do? Do you believe if she says Israel's committing genocide, she's through? They're going to go. If she says no, I don't, then whatever this, and it's hard for you to figure out where these people are. But they're very adamant that what is happening in Israel is nothing but human rights violations off the chart. And they are it. You force her hand. Why? Because you split that Democratic Party. She loses no matter what, and she won't know what to do. Why? Because she's got the questions ahead of time. She's got the questions. She might have a little bit of an earpiece too. Don't be surprised if there's something that's maybe giving a little bit of. That's number one. The second question, the most important one, and this is, and that, by the way, that's a dog whistle to her group. The second question, most important one, is what do you think about a man going into a boxing ring, beating the hell out of a woman and getting a gold medal? What do you think about that? Do you believe there's a difference between men and women? Do you think men should be competing against? Answer the question. Every single thing. If I walked into every group with you and I said, let's go into Black crowds, Asian crowds, Latino crowds, gay crowds, gay, not LGBT, not T, gay. And I said, do you believe there's a difference between men and women? They would say, of course there is. Yes. If I went to black, do you believe there's a difference between men? Oh, absolutely. We're not talking gay and straight. We're talking men and women. Asian, absolutely. Asia, in China, they wanted it. What was it? They were afraid that too much exposure to TikTok makes boys effeminate. I don't know what the particular word is, whatever the phrase is. Listen to what I'm saying. She won't know what to do. She'll be thrown off because she wouldn't be given that question. She will have been told, these are your answers. These are your questions, I should say, or these are whatever it is. And number two, she just won't know what to do. She'll still laugh. She doesn't know. And she will be exposed once and for all. I want to do everything in my power to split this country. This is what the Vietnam War did. The Vietnam War changed everything. The Vietnam War, towards the end, changed everything. It was the divisive. It was it. And when you had people like, you had Hubert Humphrey was like, what do I do? This is when Bobby Kennedy moved in. And I mean, it is so important. This is such a strategy. You can't go in and talk about platform owners who were arrested because no. That's inside baseball. That's not for, I mean, it's interesting, but it's like, no. You don't talk about things like, and if Bobby Kennedy talks about food, he talks about it in such a way that he says, in our particular country, this is legal, but not there. That's simple. That's simple. You understand this? Think elections. Don't say communist. Let that out. Don't make somebody say, what? Never give somebody the reason to stop and say, well, that's really not communism, because why? He's just discussed, he's just avoided answering your question because you've insisted upon bringing up this communist thing. Because it's that word that people love. See, on our side, they love this. Oh, communism. They love this. But to the average American, let me ask you something. Do me a favor today. Just do me a favor. Talk to any of your friends and say, you know what? This is my favorite. I always love this. You know, we all have a friend with this. You know, Dave, let me ask you a question. And if anybody would know, you would know, Dave, because I know you're up on this and you read the news and you're far more versed on this subject than me. And if anybody would know, you would. And you set them up like that. And you say, well, what exactly is capitalism? And wait. Watch what they say. Well, because you've talked about communism. That's an economic theory. Well, capitalism. Is there totalitarian regimes in capitalism? Do we have famine in capitalism? Do we have poverty in capitalism? Do we have totalitarian regimes and the stifling of free speech and expression in capitalism? Well, what is capitalism? Watch what I say. People will say, I have no idea. I don't know. And they think of communism as being totalitarian versus an economic theory. So do me a favor, just stay out of this. Stay out of that realm. This is great for, Jesse Waters. He doesn't know either. It's the wrong term. It's the wrong term. Years ago, there would be these people who would say pedo, and then they would refer to pedo or pedo, and then you can fill in that. And I say, oh, no. Do you think human trafficking is about that? Do you think that the exploitation and predation of children is done by those people, as it were? Do you think that slavery was based on racism? Do you believe that slave masters were just racist? Or were they opportunists? Were they capitalists, so to speak? People use these terms that are all wrong. It's always the wrong term. You don't really get it. Not sure what it is. For example, like a numbnut said, Timbo, it says misinformation. What about disinformation or data information? What does that mean, misinformation? What if you're wrong? What if your intent? What if you were just erroneous? And you intended not to confuse anybody? They don't know. So be an absolute stickler for the simplest of messaging. Don't give them a word don't give them a word that's subject to definition. Capitalism, American. Use words like fair. Don't say, is this American? They might say, well, it depends upon the history. There was a time when slavery was American. No. Use words like fair. Is this right? Is this wrong? Does this make sense to you? That's what you want. Can you tell me why in China, red dye number 7 is prohibited, but it's not here? Do they know something we don't know? Do you know whether your child is eating microplastics, consuming them? Do you think it would be a good idea for your government to maintain it? Other countries don't do that. Why does Putin? Years ago he said no to GMOs. Why is this not allowed in Russia but allowed here? Why does it make any sense to you? That's the question. And you ask them, very, very simple. Don't say communist, because just ask a question. Why is that? Why would they allow that here? I don't know. You think that's right? No. Do you think you should assume that when you're eating something, when you go into a store and you buy anything on the shelf, and it's made, let's say in this country in particular, that you can import something, maybe it's, but let's say you have some, don't you imply that you're not eating something that is not soaked in a carcinogenic pesticide? Don't you assume that? Yeah. Do you think washing this, I like to make sure you wash this up. Do you think that's going to get rid of traces of a carcinogenic pesticide? Do you have the presumption? Should you be able to think that food is safe? Yes. Just like that. Do you think it's safe? Should you presume that? Do you think it should be? That is exactly the message. And meanwhile, where's Kamala? Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Nowhere. Hiding. Same thing for Timmy. Hiding. They don't know what to do right now. They don't know what to do. You can't go 72, 73 days and have your person hiding and laughing and saying nonsense about when I grew up and some anecdote about these mythical parents. Lori Cook says, like Obama saying water's fine and not drinking it. Yes. That, by the way, Lori, what is, I love that. I don't know what your thumbnail is, but it appears to be either, it looks like Snow White screaming. Doesn't look like Snow White with the billowy or some type of medieval. I can't tell from that, but it's very, very nice. All right, dear friends. So, speaking of which, Lori Cook, thank you. Rico Gerard. Yes. Rico says Trump should expose Kamala's vacuousness. I will say this, Rico. Lay off of her. Say the Democrats. You almost say, look, I'm not going to blame her. She's just reading a script. That's the worst. Lori Cook, thank you. Cheated no more. Gwig. Lori Lewis. A lot of Loris here today. Raul Rodriguez, George Lenz. Lori cheated no more. Yes, we said that. Evan Webb. Ryan, God bless you, Ryan. Let me see here. And K-Boy. K-Boy. That is critical stuff. All right, dear friends. Also, don't forget Mrs. L. Lori Cook is a CIA plant. What am I trying to say? Oh, God. Mrs. L. Lynn's Warriors. Follow her at Lynn's Warriors. Do that. And let me see what else. Oh, preparewithlionel.com. If you're talking about famine, preparewithlionel.com. Emergency food. Dear God, if you don't see the benefit of that, and mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, mypillow.com/Lionel, get a free gift. And don't forget, October the 26th at the cutting room. I will be there with you and yours. We'll do questions, answers, music, the whole bit. All right, dear friends, have a great and glorious day. See you tonight at 7 p.m. Don't forget, I got more stuff to follow. And until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya.